Hi, this video is about a will and trust. It's a group discussion. Uh, a team of professionals which involves an insurance agent, an attorney, a CPA, and a financial advisor will do a good job. So this is just a group discussion. I want to bring out some important points. Based on the state where you are, some of the points might differ. So whenever you are approaching to write a will and to form a trust, it's better to go with a scenario-based approach, because when you write it down what requirements you have, and based on the scenarios you would able to derive your requirements. So that's the reason a scenario-based approach will cover most of your requirements. So as I said, just when your scenario-based approach would be, the first point you should consider is any of the property, accounts, digital assets, and any other valuable assets. And do you have a large estate? So you have to know the federal estate tax exemption amounts. In 2018 it was 5.6 million, and 2021 it was 11.7 million. So whenever you gift an asset to somebody, if that amount is under the limitation, then it's okay. Otherwise there will be a gift tax liability. So you need to know that. So in 2021 it's $15,000 gift tax. Gift limitation was $15,000. Do you want to have control of your assets, or do you don't want to have control of some of your assets? So based on your estate, by the end, whenever you are trying to distribute, then what is the federal gross estate you have to pay? This, if you follow with your CPA, then probably it would be a good point to know what exact amount you based on your assets, what exact amount it will be. In your state, is there any inheritance tax or state death taxes? And how do you want to distribute your assets? And you're passing property to spouse or beneficiary, is there any successive transfer taxes? Do you have any bequest? If you are sick, how do you want to handle it? And do you have an accident? And if you have an accident and if you became disabled, how do you want to handle that? After death, what kind of distributions you want to make and to whom? And any other particular scenarios that belongs to only your lifestyle, maybe write those down too. So how do you come up with these scenarios? Basically by some of the factors that you should consider for yours. Those factors would be health, children in your family and other family members, your family health history, hobbies, your hobbies and activities, asset types, creditors, taxes, Main Street and Wall Street performance, and inflation. Why you should consider Main Street and Wall Street performance? The asset you bought might have a multiple of 100 times by the time you are going to distribute. So if that have a multiple of 100 times and the fair market value drastically got increased and it exceeded your gross estate exceeded the federal gross estate limitations, exemptions, then you have a problem there. That's why you need to consider that. Life, physical factors, personal and emotional factors, and experiences, and loss of your state. By considering all these factors, you will come up with a lot of scenarios. So what is the most important fact you should remember? Risk can't be eliminated completely. That is based on experience. Maybe you can, but I cannot. So what I do say is make an effort to minimize it to least possible extent. So as a grantor means you. I am trying to write a will and form a trust. So by that you need these are the simple details. If you have a will and none other, means you don't have a trust. Yes, you have a will. No, you don't have a will. So if you have a will, then after probate, in the probate process, decisions are based on will, and probably it will be less time because you already gave your decisions in the will, and cost is going to be low probably because the decisions you made are good for everybody in your family or whatever requirements that you thought of. And you don't have a will, still probate process will continue and the court will appoint an executor, and they have to identify a lot of unknowns, so probably it might take more time if you have a large estate. If the time is taking more, if the time is increased, then probably it's going to cost more. And if none of the parents are alive, then if you have a minor, then the minor care, there will be the effect of the minor care is going to be there. So just having a will after probate, the process continues. Gross estate, net estate, what is your net estate, the taxes if you have to pay any, and distributions, all other events will follow. So say for example you have a will and you have a trust too. So what kind of trust? Let's see some points about the trust. So one of the trust is Testamentary Trust, and the other is Living Trust. So the Testamentary Trust is created by the last will and testament, means it is not created until the grantor passes away. Okay. And the living trust created during the grantor's lifetime, and means he is still living. So what kind of living trusts are there? One is Revocable Trust. Revocable can be changed, means some of the things can be changed in it, or it can be terminated. And finally, and some of the factors the it has no benefits on the gross federal estate taxes at the end. And the other is irrevocable trust. Irrevocable trust is it cannot be changed once it is formed or terminated. Assets, I did say assets, it's wrong. Assets in irrevocable trust generally avoid estate inclusion, federal gross estate inclusion at the end. So we'll see the details later on. So the testamentary trust, okay, the creation is dependent on probate and enforcement of the will. The carry-out provisions are provided in the will. As the property assets are transferred into the testamentary trust after the grantor expired, so there is no possibility of gift here. Transfers does not apply as gift, so no gift tax liabilities, and the follow-up event happens. So the follow-up events are inclusion of assets in the grantor gross estate. What is your gross estate? What is the net federal gross estate taxes? And what kind of distributions? All other events will follow based on the requirements and based on the beneficiaries. So the living trusts, okay, some important points are generally established by the grantor. Why? In order to hold title to and manage some or all of the grantor's assets. Property transferred to living trust passes outside the will and avoids the probate process. Revocable living trust, as arranged, the grantor retains control if desired, if he wants to. Living trusts are attractive when grantor holdings are large and no longer wants to burden of managing them. Who manages it? The trustee. Gift of property, meaning the gift should be a completed gift, and the grantor or donor should not have any control. Completed gift in the sense whoever is gifting the property should not have any control over that property. And one type of living trust, as we talked about, it's a revocable living trust. The revocable living trust retains control over assets, can change the terms or terminate. Distributions are made according to trust document, not the will. At the end, distributions are made according to the trust document, not the will, because it is in the revocable living trust, and the trust document defines how to do it. Assets transferred to trust before grantor dies will avoid probate. Transfer of property to trust does not constitute a gift because you are living and you have control over the trust. That's the reason if you are transferring property to the trust, you are not gifting because you are still in control of the trust. So there is no gift tax liability here. Within 3 years before grantor's death, the power to revoke the value of the property in the trust is given up, that property is not included in the grantor's gross estate at the end. Transfers from trust is treated as gift made by descendant. If you are transferring property out from the trust, it is a gift made by descendant. So that annual exclusion gift amount as per the rules are not included in the grantor's gross estate. Distributions of assets in trust are private because of trust document. Revocable living trust has a will pour over receptacle. It is very important to consider this. And the trust is normally funded, which should meet the state minimum principal requirements, minimum principal amount requirements. Okay? It is inactive during lifetime, but terms are established to deal with subsequent additions to principal for the trust. The grantor will specify that all or part of the residuary estate is to be paid into the pre-existing trust, which now at the end it becomes irrevocable at grantor's death. The grantor will specify all this. If the grantor becomes disabled, a detailed explanation of how to manage assets can be provided to trustee in the trust document, and in that case the guardianship is not needed. You should consider, as a trust has a trustee, it might have a fee for trustee fee. Assets are included in the descendants' gross estate. This one cannot avoid estate taxes because still you have control. Trust income is taxable to grantor during life of the trust. During life, your life, grantor's life. So the next one is irrevocable living trust. So transfers of asset to this irrevocable living trust avoids inclusion of those assets which were transferred into the grantor's federal gross estate at the end. The grantor must give up instance of ownership, no dividends. He cannot have any kind of dividends from it. And if he transfers the life insurance policy to the trust before 3 years prior to the grantor's death, then that life insurance policy value is not included in the gross estate at the end. Transfer of property to an irrevocable trust would ordinarily be gifts to beneficiary. That is because he is not in control of the irrevocable living trust. Whatever property transferred to the irrevocable living trust would be ordinarily be gifts to the beneficiary. The gift must be a gift of present interest and not of future interest. That you should remember. And it should be a completed gift. The completed gift with immediate withdrawal rights to trust beneficiaries are established by Crummey rights power. So, if the completed gift have some right-away withdrawal rights in a certain time period, then that is considered as present interest And please ask your attorney about the Crummey rights. A annual gift tax exclusion amount is not included in the grantor's gross estate. Annual gift tax exclusion amounts is, in 2021 it is $15,000. So there is a special kind of trust which is called as ILITs, which is known as Irrevocable Life Insurance Trust. So what are the advantages? We'll talk about it. So there will be some kind of funded ILITs and unfunded ILITs too. And the funded ILIT and unfunded ILIT, if the beneficiaries did not use the withdrawal rights in the time period that was specified, then there will be some effects of Crummey rights that might be dealing with paying some taxes. Ask your attorney about it. So if the beneficiaries did not use the Crummey rights in the certain time period that was specified, then there will be a liability of taxes. So to avoid that, only one beneficiary will be per each ILIT. Means if you have two beneficiaries, you will have two ILITs, ILIT trusts, and per each trust there will be only one beneficiary. So if he did not use that Crummey rights, then he's not gifting to nobody. So this procedure is to avoid any gift tax liabilities if withdrawal rights were not used by beneficiaries. Talk these points with your attorney. And why do we need to have a ILIT own the insurance policy? If the ILIT owns the insurance policy, that amount is not included in the federal gross estate at the end, and your estate won't be having a large tax liability to pay at the end. So that's the benefit of ILIT owning that insurance policy, and the beneficiaries are paying the transferred amount to the ILITs. The transferred amount to the ILITs are paid as premiums for the life insurance policy. To know more details about it, please contact the insurance agent or your team, as we talked before. And there are some important points to consider. If you transferred the ILIT, if you transferred the insurance policy to the Irrevocable Living Trust, but the transferred policy, whoever transferred the policy expired within the 3 years, then it might become a problem. So because the death happens within the 3 years, and that in that case the transferred policy to the ILIT does not is still included in the federal gross estate of the grantor at the end. So to avoid that, what you have to do, ask your insurance agent or your professional team, as we talked before. And these are all just the summary of all the points we talked before. And finally, it's great that we do have some group discussion. These are the important points to remember, and this is just a video of few important points. And please subscribe to our channel. Our channel is Siri Bytes. If you let us know what kind of other videos you like, we will be making those videos and we will upload it. Please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.